As inflation is rising, many people are continuing to take their jobs for granted. Casual Chalk here, brand new video, brand new topic. Those of you who are new to this video, new to my channel, feel free to subscribe, share the video, like the video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and God bless. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, because it has been catching my attention that at the current job that I work for Fruit of the Loom in Somerville, right? And this is in Somerville, South Carolina. I'm going to make a future video about South Carolina, my thoughts on it, and what I think about the state overall. Excuse me. So, anyways, I've noticed that there's been a rise on a lot of people quitting this company lately since I've been working at Fruit of the Loom of Somerville, South Carolina, this specific location. And it should be alarming that this is the reason why companies end up having to, unfortunately, overwork certain people. You may apply for a certain job and a few months go by, you hear one person from a certain department gets laid off, or they end up quitting. In many cases, they end up quitting or just resigning altogether. Now, the managers or the company sometimes, if they can't find nobody to replace that role, temporarily, they may ask you to help fill that position while doing your original position at the exact same time, and you don't get no pay raise or anything. See, this is the type of issue where, and one of the main reasons why more people end up quitting. This is a case with my last job. The last job and company I used to work for, I believe the name of the company was called Malabar, and in North Charleston or Charleston, South Carolina. I used to work there for about a few years, and it just went downhill after a while. They started downsizing. More people were being overworked. More people were quitting. More people were getting fired. People were just leaving altogether. And it's one of those warehouse jobs where it's a rough environment. The people, the atmosphere, it's a bit rough. And if you can't stand a job like that, then you have to also realize and come to terms with that too. I'm not making this video to encourage anyone to do bad things like quit your job, okay? This is not an encouragement video, but if you know for a fact that the job you got, it's not working out, don't take it for granted. A lot of the times, people today in 2023 are taking their jobs for granted left and right. It's understandable if you did years of service at that job, right? I get that. You did what you had to do. You saved your money to get by in college. You got your degree, and then you're bouncing. You put in your 2 weeks notice, or you just let your supervisor know, hey, I'm not coming back. I found a better opportunity somewhere else. I appreciate your time with you taking me to work here, but I got to go. Or it was nice. It was a pleasure working with you. Okay. In many cases, just keep it short, simple, and professional. But I'm talking about the average person that just hops and leave. The options that you have starts to run out after a while, because many cases for job hoppers, especially for me, from my experience, being one before, you have a harder time in the job market. You ever realize that a lot of people recommend you look for a job while you already have a job? That's why. Because if you just up and leave, not only that disrupts your pay flow, it also disrupts the time that you get your paycheck, and it also disrupts a lot of things in your life. So now you got to take the time to now take even more time to look for a job. And in many cases, the smartest thing to do is to look for a temp agency. But sometimes even the temp agencies are booked too with all their jobs. And the only jobs are left is jobs that you don't qualify for. So you're left with nothing. I'm talking about the average person who does not have many skills on their resume or they don't have much work experience. You cannot afford to take your jobs for granted, especially if you're new to the job market. When you are new and a rookie to the job market, right? You cannot keep job hopping from job to job. My very first job, I stayed at for about 5 to 6 years. And I'm still thankful to that day because one of my my classmates that I used to go to school with, he hooked me up. I ended up coming across him when I was looking for a job at the time. This is my time when I was in Brooklyn, New York. This is many years ago. When he see me, he was like, "Hey, Daniel, hey, man, hey, bro, I got this job for you. Do you want to work here?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I want to work here. What's up?" "Oh, just drop your resume off. I'll set up an interview with you, and I'll recommend you." I got the job the next day. I did the training. I did what I was supposed to do. I stayed there for a few years, and I didn't take it for granted. At the exact same time, I was able to build a network right there because I knew him, and I knew all the other people that was there too. I communicated with my associates and the ones who are professional, like the doctor, the manager, business manager, etc. That's how you build networks, communication, opportunities, work opportunities, getting your foot in the door leads to many different possibilities. And that's where growth starts to develop. The time you spent developing those skills could also be a greater impact and view for the next employer that decides to want to hire you or is looking to hire you, because that tells them that you're dedicated, and at the exact same time, that shows them that you're very professional and you're willing to stay long-term at your job. Okay? This is what they want to see on your resume, on your track record. It's the same thing for a relationship. You ever notice it doesn't even look good for women or even men to have rebounds and always have so many gaps? That's the same thing for a resume. You don't want to have too many job gaps, and you definitely don't want to lie about that either, because many cases, in some cases, in instances, depending on the job that you get, they may want to double check your background on contacting the previous employer that you used to work for, or if they can't get a hold of them, even if you lie about it as well. I get that, right? Some people do that in many cases. There's people out there that does that. In many cases, they may train you to see how far you are. There's some companies that does this. Like I said, too many people today are just upping and leaving their jobs and taking their jobs for granted. They're doing things wrong. Then they wonder why they start struggling trying to find a job. This is why you should not be 100% dependent on, I got a lot of options. Yes, if you got a career level degree, you have many options, yes, but depending on where you live, those jobs and opportunities are limited. It doesn't come by like that. This is the reason why I said many people should be careful on the type of jobs that they're taking for granted. If you're thinking of right now, while you're watching this video, you're thinking about leaving or quitting your job, look at how much you got saved. Look at your options around your area. Is there a temp job or a temp agency that you could go to for help? Do they have jobs that are available to you depending on the experience and the certificates or whatever you got, what you qualify for, your bracket? You're not going beyond your means, reaching for the stars that you can never reach. Do you qualify for those available jobs? Do you think you can land a job that quick after you leave your current job? Just up and leave and quit, resign. Especially for people that are living paycheck to paycheck, You know they definitely can't do something so stupid like that, especially if you don't got nothing saved up. You cannot just up and leave. I've done that and I was struggling. I do not recommend that. I got backed up on rent, backed up on bills, got to catch up with certain bills and things started to get cut off. You want to go through that? That is stressful. Nobody wants to go through that. It is stressful enough with the inflation being on the rise, right? But I can't comprehend and understand on how people could just quit and up and leave unless you got some major plan or degree that you already know and you got the hookup, or you already found a job somewhere else, or you already got an interview or a few interviews lined up somewhere else. But interviews don't mean anything because you could have 3 interviews and you don't get hired for none of the jobs, or the jobs or one of the jobs ends up being not what you expected it to be. Because many cases, stuff like that happens. In some cases, you got to take what you could get. In some cases, because the majority of people in America that is not a college graduate and just a high school graduate, most of the time, the jobs that are going to be available to you, especially if you're new to the job market, are entry-level jobs like data entry, some office jobs, janitor work. A lot of blue-collar jobs are going to, like, not blue-collar, but like blue-collar jobs, like a regular school janitor, a cleaner. Or it could be retail, customer service. I see a lot of teenagers and young adults work in Walmart, customer service, retail, things like that. That's a starter job. Especially for new graduates, that's a starter job to start off with your resume, to start building on your resume. You just have to move smart out here in 2023. Like I said, I can't understand on why a lot of young people today, you may be able to have the options. Yes, I get that. If you're confident enough that, hey, I could get this job, no problem. You got a lot of jobs lined up. You got a plan, that's completely different. But when you don't know the job market in your area and you leave the job that you got for a few years and then looking back, you realize how hard it is to find another job, best be assured, you just have to be careful. Technology is advancing. A lot of these jobs right now today, they could be eliminated in the future. So that's why I'm saying a lot of people just have to be careful the jobs that they take for granted, because the same job that you end up leaving is the same job you wish you stayed at for a little bit longer just to get by on your bills, on your debt, your rent, etc., whatever your issue may be, until you get to where you need to be from point A to point B. Don't take your jobs for granted, guys. Even if it's hard, even if it's tough, even if you're in the storm right now, you got to fight through the storm and not be weak and just give up. You have to have ambition and goals for yourself. Discipline. Self-discipline is the key. Self-discipline is one of the major keys to success. How do you think a lot of successful people did it? People that graduated from college and got their careers, their acts together. How do you think they did it? Being responsible, being disciplined, moving smart. It's true. Anyways, casual talk here, guys. Don't take your job for granted. You're struggling or you're going through something right now. Hey, at least you got a job, because many people out there, they wish they were in your shoes and they wish they had something. Because something is better than nothing. Move smart. Look for a job while you're working at the job that you got. Or if you got something saved on the side, at least you have a savings. Have a plan at the exact same time and understand your job market in your area. That's the number one thing that you also have to understand. Just because you got all the options right now, that does not mean outside from that job, you're going to have those same options long term. This is Casual Talk here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.